Hi, I'm Mauricio Schuhler and you're listening to The Schillering Hub, a podcast gathering hospitality professionals from around the world to talk about what hospitality is and what it isn't, and their lives, the innovations, and the ideas that set some businesses apart and others not. We also talk about the future, the trends, and recently we embarked on a journey to search for happiness in hospitality. What makes hospitality a happy place? What are the hurdles that block happiness from happening? And what can we do to overcome them? I invite you to be part of this journey. Comment and send us a message of how our conversation impacts your day. Ask me a question or tell me a guest you'd like to listen to. We make this for you, so I hope you enjoy it. Hello everyone and thank you for listening. I have Alex Munford with me to talk a little bit about his career and what he's doing now. Alex, thank you for coming and joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me. So really looking forward to this.
That's also Alex. I don't like to introduce our speakers because I want you to really tell our community who you are. We start always with the human first, so please tell our listeners who Alex Munford is.
In the grand scheme of things, he's nobody. It's probably the best way of putting it. I am a manager within food and beverage within restaurants. Currently working every day. I get the odd day off. Currently working on high street restaurants, kind of full on operations. Glad to see the back of Christmas last year. And we're into that kind of recruitment, retraining, retaining the staff, all those kind of bits now, which is good. But yeah, from the UK, father of 5. That's pretty much all I've got going, really.
Father of 5 and food and beverage manager is a lot on your plate already, literally, right?
Yeah, it's great fun.
But so tell me a little bit more, because food and beverage is like a beautiful and complicated type of business, right? It's not easy. We know that, okay? But how did you get into it?
I fell into it. I didn't go the traditional route of I want to be a chef or I want to work customer service or any of that thing. I didn't know what else to do. I kind of, in some ways I was very fortunate. I just absolutely breezed through education. Never had to think of any of it, never had to put any effort in. And then I came out of education and suddenly the real world hit me of, I probably should have tried harder and I should have learned how to focus and how to develop an actual skill set, not just rely on being able to sit there and retain information short term. So yeah, when I came out of school, I was, according to my grades, super intelligent, but not qualified for anything, not ready for anything. So, I don't feel like I've progressed there either, which is annoying. So I went to work part-time for a family business building boats. And then I went part-time into a cafe that had a super low entry barrier. And someone said, I'll teach you how to make coffee. I was like, okay, I'll do that. And yeah, I dabbled in and out for the best part of a decade, on and off between the two, different industries. And then one day I got made redundant from my boat building. And I just had enough. So I moved 100 miles away from the family just to put some pressure on myself to actually grow up a little bit. It's probably about mid-20s at this point. And then, the last decade's just been spent just kind of raising a family. Being around for my wife and trying to actually make a career now in food and beverage, in restaurants.
I have to tell you that I believe, and this is my own data, okay? So
Sure.
Yeah, so it's my own data from my own brain. But by the conversations I normally have, I would say that this cheesy story that, I always dreamed to be a chef. No. It doesn't really happen like this. I think that most people actually falls into it. I started as a kitchen hand because I couldn't even speak English in the country I was in, and that was the only thing I could do was washing dishes. And I ended up learning how to cook and continue in the kitchen for a long time. So I believe that we get to like what you do. You don't need to really love what you're gonna do, but you get to learn and like this thing. So you're not nobody, as you said. You have very important things there, and mainly as being a father of 5, so you are somebody very important in the world, right?
To those guys, absolutely, yeah.
And tell me one thing, like about like being in that customer service and of course juggling jobs. That's I would say that 50% of the industry would relate to you. Yeah, 50% of the industry are probably juggling jobs, and they are working in a cafe, they are working in a pizza shop, and they are also doing things around it. But how was that for you, really, to work? Because they're two very different kind of job. Like I clean boats as well in Australia, so I know that's very musical and make that thing shine. You know, very hard work, really, and serving people very different. Yeah. What made you actually to decide to go to like, yeah, I prefer to serve people actually than being on my own?
I don't know that I ever did decide, if I'm honest. I took redundancy in the kind of boat building job where I was. And again, I had no actual qualifications in it, so finding another job in that industry would have been really tough. I'd have been bottom of the pile.
Mm-hmm.
But I still had my job in the cafe. So I kind of thought, let's just carry on this, took a few extra hours. And then I went to work in a music venue, and I did music college before all this. So I kind of like knew the sound engineering and all those kind of things. So I got in on that side, and then got behind the bar and thought, oh, this is actually quite good fun. And then, yeah, just went from bar to bar to bar to pub to restaurant to bar to pub to restaurant. Just in a loop. And it was good fun. I guess you almost get caught up in the whirlwind of what it is. Because when it's in that kind of environment, when there's like just music on and everyone's having a great time, and every night at work was just a party. And it's really hard to replicate that in another industry. If you go from that to going like, oh, I'll get a proper adult job now, as I thought about it at the time. I thought, I'll go sit at a desk and work on a computer. And just, I couldn't think of anything worse. It was just that dopamine hit every single shift. It was amazing. So I think you almost get addicted to that, which is crazy. It's almost in the same way, I don't know, taking on a curveball, but crack cocaine works on the same way as dopamine-based kind of infusion almost. So it was kind of like that every night is the best way I could describe it without actually taking any else. So yeah, going from that to a nice quiet little job in the corner somewhere, it just never suited me. And eventually, like to your point earlier, I agree. I don't think like a passion is something you ever find. I think it's something you build, because no one's ever passionate about something they absolutely suck at. And whenever you first start doing something like I did with coffee or serving, like terrible. Probably the first 1,000 coffees I made, I imagine were probably undrinkable. And people still nod and smile and pay for them. But yeah, it wasn't until a couple of years in when I finally got good at it and I had some knowledge and I had some people going, oh, that's actually okay, and a bit of validation, that I thought, oh, I'd quite enjoy this actually. So yeah, I suppose you just kind of build and grow into a passion rather than find it, and I think that was the case for me.
Yes, no, it's I believe it, because like now that we are discussing a lot about happiness in hospitality with other people, with other guests, and we start to learn this mental challenges that we have to actually have that happiness to come from inside us, right? Because we want to be happy, but things in the environment, people, the environment, stuffing around us, news, all that may block the happiness to happen. But as you said, when you're in that environment where everyone is having fun, this is just so contagious that you start to like, well, if I'm here, better to have fun, right? And if I can provide fun to others, like, why not? And I think that this is what is the hospitality DNA in the end of the day that so many people are starting to talk about, right? That willingness to try to have fun with the people that are paying for fun, right? Like, if I can put like this way. And Alex, now, what you doing now? So you are, like you said, that you're a manager of food and beverage, but I got to know you more about all the projects that you've been working on. What's going on in your life now?
Quite a lot. Gone crazy. This year for me is a year of trying to build a bit of a side project, I guess you'd say. Because I've realized since COVID for me was amazing in some ways because I got the year off to spend with my kids, and we'd had a little baby about 3 weeks before everyone went on furlough in the UK. So that first year of his life, amazing. So really enjoyed that, but it got me thinking, all of that downtime, all of that time to kill almost. And then I somehow came out of COVID, out of furlough with a promotion to like a GM role. And then the first day back, you realize that actually I have no idea what I'm doing. And I think so many other people in the industry were in a very similar situation because, of course, lots of people from Europe, in the UK, a huge percentage of our kind of hospitality workforce were from other parts of Europe. And during lockdown, they all went back to spend the time with their families and kind of take jobs in other countries. So the vast majority of people who held a position in the UK ended up promoted to a position that they had no idea how to do. And I think there's still an element of that. I think that's one of the biggest challenges we've got at the moment is lots of our managers, certainly not all of them, it's not meant to annoy anyone, but lots of our managers just need some support. They kind of need a bit of guidance. Because again, as the result of COVID, KPIs and targets and all these kind of things have really toughened up. Most places I've been to recently, it's all about revenue. It's all about labor percentages. And there's no support, in my experience, of how to get these kind of things, how to achieve these targets and how to manage our KPIs. It's just, these are the KPIs, you either hit them or you don't. It's very black and white. And I think there's a lot of people who just need a bit of extra, maybe a template or maybe a bit of a course on, but how do I do that? And a bit of support in doing so. And then the other kind of big issue that I can see at the moment is that there's just not enough people to fill the roles. So again, retention's a big thing we've been talking about recently as an industry. The last year or so when people have really almost, mental health now front of mind instead of back of mind, and it's super important. And retaining our team members has just never been more important. But again, there's no real literature on how to do so. It's just everyone keeps saying, oh, you need to do it. But it's like, but how do I do that? So I'm intending this year to supply a bit more of the how to do things. I think everyone knows what to do and why to do it, but it's just how. So that's where I'm hoping to come in.
So yes, that's a very good thing to do because you are absolutely right. The way that I see it seems that hospitality didn't worry about the supply of labor before until it was too late. Right now, there's no new supply coming, so you need to retain whoever you have. And we just didn't develop that part, right? We didn't develop well, not the whole industry. Yeah, I'm talking parts of it, mainly, I would say restaurants, probably, that always being a rotating kind of job. But there is so much there to work on. There's so much opportunity for people to learn. So how you intend to tackle this how? Like what you want to do to achieve that template, or how to want to help these business owners?
So for me, it comes down to four things. There's how to properly recruit people. So the idea, just as an overview, is to basically put it all into like a course and program with all these templates, which I'm currently writing at the moment, and then just get it out to anybody who needs it. It's not going to be one of those things where I'm going to make millions off of this and sell it for an extortionate price. It's just, let's just get it into the hands of as many people as we possibly can, and hope that it works for most of them. So it's all about the first problem we aim to tackle, or I aim to tackle, it's only me, will be the recruitment side of things. So it's how to actually hire the right people. Because one of the statistics that's come out of a project called This is Pineapple, that's just launched, massive things, but it's brilliant. is that within food and beverage, around about 30% of people, of new recruits, don't last the first 12 weeks. So 3 months later, you're then spending more money and more time and more energy hiring another round of people who 30% of those still won't last the next 12 weeks. And it's just constant. So if we can tackle that issue, free up more time, free up more money, and then we can pour that into actually training staff. So instead of just being a conveyor belt, we can get a solid team in and then actually spend the time and the resources to teach them how to do their jobs properly. So I've got recruit, then it's retrain, and then it's retain. So it's find out what is it they actually need, what is it they want? Because again, I think COVID's given a massive shift in mindset for people. It's not a job, just isn't just a job anymore. It needs to provide more than that. It needs to provide work-life balance. It needs to provide fulfillment. It needs to provide fun and happiness, to your point earlier. So it's teaching people how to provide that for the team as a whole, but then also the individuals within their team, because everyone wants something different. The way that I think is very different to the way that most of my team think. And what I look for in a role would be probably completely different to what one of my counterparts might do. So it's being adaptable, being flexible, but kind of hitting everybody in the team. And then it's rewarding them afterwards. So as a manager, it's enjoying the extra time you've got. It's enjoying the extra revenue that you're generating. It's enjoying and almost celebrating the wins of doing so. And then sharing that with the team who are sticking by you a bit more now. And just kind of celebrating that together. So as you're saving money on your recruitment costs and all the time and energy, just put that into what's already there in front of you, into your team, into your guests. And in theory, bit of an upward spiral instead of a downward one.
It sounds like a great plan. And one question I have there is, it's more a challenge that I foresee, and I'm just trying to figure out how to understand what people want. Because I think that this is a question that people cannot answer themselves yet, right? So have you, what you thinking, how to try to get to understanding what they really want when they are in the job?
The easiest way I've found, which is probably contrary to your point, is you just ask them. It's by far the simplest way I've ever known. There seems to be, in my experience of restaurants, no one's ever asked me what I want from a job, other than in an interview. And then you get the job, you get given it, you start in the role, and then that's never mentioned again. So it's just having that conversation, having the open dialogue, having your monthly check-in, or every couple of weeks, just take 5 minutes. It's all it takes. Just to check in. How are things for you? How can we make them better? What's working? What's not working for you? What kind of thing would make you never want to leave us? Which I think is a crucial question. I'm stolen out from Jim Taylor, brilliant guy. And then just having that open dialogue with them constantly. And I think the first 2 or 3 times, maybe they don't know exactly what they need or what they want, but having that conversation will get them thinking about it. And you can even challenge them to come up with a few things, but keeping it front of mind, eventually they'll figure out their answer.
Yeah, building the mindset perfectly. That's awesome. And you said our word there before, and as a father of 5, I'll throw that question to you, because there's a lot to do what we are trying to achieve here of happiness as well. It's work-life balance, right?
Okay. Favorite topic.
Yes, because that's basically how I got to know you a little bit, of trying to help parents in hospitality to figure it out. That I don't know how far you went with that project, and it doesn't really matter. I just want to try to understand work-life balance, huge topic. How do you manage that, and how do you think that people could manage that?
I probably have a slightly contrarian view on this one as well. Work-life balance for me is all mindset. For me, maybe 5% mechanics, but I used to get burned out in the last job that I had, because I wasn't managing how I was thinking about the role, if that made sense. So for me, it's because you see people that will work 120 hours a week and never get burned out. You'll see people that will work 37 and within 6 months they're just absolutely on the ground. So for me, it's not the hours you put in, because it can't be. Otherwise, there would be a threshold, and we go over that, and everyone's the same. But I realized that it was what I was thinking about the role. So the last role I did, it just didn't suit me. There's nothing wrong with it. It was a nice enough place to work. It just, the role didn't fit me. So therefore I didn't enjoy it. I went in thinking like, God, this again, like another day here. And it was that burned me down. Whereas the place I'm at now and the other stuff I'm doing, I'm now working probably double the hours I was there. Trying to get my restaurants kind of in a really good place, but also trying to get my projects in a good place on the side, plus juggling the 5 kids. And it's making the most of downtime, but it's also the way you think, in my opinion, from my experience, the way you think about the role that you're doing or the job that you're doing or the project, if it doesn't excite you and it's not something that you can jump out of bed for and go, okay, let's go. Not, I need 3 coffees first and let's just quick scroll on Facebook, bit of doom scrolling. If it doesn't get you leaping out of bed, at some point you are going to get burned out. But if you know that I've got a really exciting day today, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and it just gives you the energy to power through. So I think it's almost building the passion and then just kind of following where it takes you, if that makes sense.
Totally.
I'll be honest, on the happiness front, I gave up looking for it a while ago. I realized that for me, happiness was an umbrella term for a lot of other emotions and a lot of other feelings that I just didn't know how to define. So I would say like, oh, I'm really happy today, but actually it was I was feeling more joy, or I was feeling more calm, or more peace, or less stress. But once I kind of realized that actually there's little bits inside there, little nuances, and that I could just manage the tiny aspects, like how stressed am I feeling today, how overwhelmed am I feeling, how tired am I feeling, and then for me it was just an umbrella term of those. So I find my happiness by kind of pursuing what I'm passionate about, spending the time with the kids that I need to. I get a couple of days off every week to do so, but also I find happiness in knowing that I'm working towards something that I think matters. Whether or not anyone else agrees with me, sort of irrelevant. Like, I think it matters, therefore it matters to me. So I'm just going to, pursue that with everything I've got.
Alex, you have no idea, because I just had a conversation with a mindfulness coach, Nikki Vinogrodov, and sorry if I misspell your name, Nikki, but it's a
good try either way.
Yeah, it's hard, but and he's a mindfulness coach, and that's what we are trying to achieve. And to talk, like, he was a former chef as well, a tour and operator, a manager. So he's been in hospital for a long time, and now he's a mindfulness coach. And you guys are really aligned on that idea. Yeah, like he said that the first thing, mindfulness, a lot of people talk about the technique of mindfulness, but the technique of mindfulness is nothing if your mind is super clustered and unhappy with what you do, right? So basically he said, like, the first thing that he works with is getting a purpose. What you're doing, does it have a purpose in your life, right? So, and it goes exactly as you said. He said, like, if you are in a very booming kitchen where, like, all the chefs are really annoying, right? But they are great, and you learn a lot, and you put in your mindset, look, I'm here to learn this. I'm here to learn with these people, right? You can try to get that mindset of, I know why I'm here. So what they're saying, it doesn't matter, because I know why, and you can create that mindset of being happy where you are, because you know why you're doing that. So you said perfectly. It's awesome. It's so good to have these things coming together now. Thank you for sharing that. So,
you're welcome.
If you come to think about the future now, because again, to the last part of the podcast where we try to dream about the future, okay? And the industry basically went upside down in 2 years, so it's really hard to think about the future actually. But if you could dream about the future of hospitality, and I'm talking about 5 years, yeah, let's not go too far. What do you think that it's going to be in the food and beverage area? Because that's where you are. So how's it going to look like?
Interesting question. I think Probably not so much in 5 years, but I think in the near future, I would probably guess maybe 5 to 10. I think we're going to see it go more towards automation and more towards technology. Because, for example, what's an example? Let's just say you have a particular newfangled fryer that works on the new technology in the kitchen, and it just heats itself to the correct temperature. It fries your chips for you. It can get them out when they're done, and you're going to get all this like consistency. You're going to get less wastage. You're going to get less energy used, and all these kind of things. I think we're working more towards that kind of path of far more technology led. You've got like QR codes and other kind of fancy things now in front. Not a strength of mine, this topic, you can probably tell. But kind of all new fancy technologies being used front of house as well to automate the customer journey. I think we're going to head in that direction. But as with everything, we're going to go far too far. And then in a few years after that, we're going to come kind of back again and find our balance. But yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised to see more robots used in service until people realize that actually it was the service that they enjoyed. It wasn't necessarily the food or the drink or the environment. It was the fact that they've got this nice person who's just really happy to see them, having normal conversations. So yeah, I think maybe 10 years or so, we're going to go too far in one direction and then find our happy medium on the way back again.
That's an awesome overview, actually. It's quite... it goes aligned with what a lot of people are talking about hospitality, about hotels now with the automation and the low entry, right? Because the moment that you automate the whole hotel, it's really easy to invest and buy a hotel, and you don't need to really train people. So if you don't know anything, that's okay, right? But then what happens is there's a boom of hotels, and all of a sudden, like, rates go low and you can't pay your investment anymore because the margin is so small. But then you have all these businesses doing all the same, right? And then, okay, you get someone in the front desk there just to say, hi, here's a coffee, here's a juice. You can go to the machine there, and so you can bring the price a little bit up. So we go in cycles always, and it's awesome to see that you have that vision too for food and beverage. Alex, how can our listeners contact you, get to know you, have a chat, and start getting into your consulting this year?
LinkedIn is the best way to find me. I think I have a Facebook page somewhere, but I'll be honest, I've not logged on it for about 3 years, so I dread to think what's on there now. I should probably take a look at that. But yeah, LinkedIn is the one I'm focusing on, certainly for the first half of this year. Just test the platform, really. It's great for networking as well. It's great for connecting with people and actually having a chat with other people of a similar mindset and similar passion. So it's been really good on there. So yeah, I'm always happy to chat to anybody. I like people.
Awesome, Alex. So I'll put the link of your LinkedIn of the notes here. And thank you. Yeah, thank you for having this open, nice chat, actually. And contrary to what you think, there's a lot of people there that have exactly like the same story. And I think that this type of mindset that you have can be really helpful for a lot of people now that are getting into the industry and getting confused with all these changes, all this pressure and everything that's going on. So I think that we need more people like you to give some guidance, to give some peace of mind, so you can sit in this new position, this new role, in this new job, and kind of know a little bit more what to do, decrease the stress level, and help the human side. So when you're not stressed, you can help other humans, right? So thank you very much for what you're doing. I just appreciate it.
No, likewise. Thank you. And thank you very much for having me on. Great to chat to you.
Awesome. Schuhler, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.